all of this like emotion he was having was like, you know, walking back and forth, like getting at his hair, and he just like stopped and he like looked at me and he like looked like this with these evil eyes, like, you know, when someone like kind of like looks up at you like that. Yeah, it was that. It's like, okay people, hello, welcome back to Montreal IRL and Montreal. Alrighty people, it's finally here, the story I've been teasing you about, or not teasing you, but like teasing you with, you know what I'm saying? I've been dropping the hints here and there in my other videos that something scary was coming up, something to do with demonic possession, and this is it. This is the story. So everything seems to be starting off pretty okay, beginning our relationship, we're doing fine, and then one night I get a text from him that says, "I can't move." And that's all it says, and that's kind of concerning. So I call him, and he picks up the phone. He sounds very Eeyore-ish, just slow, not there really. And I'm asking him, are you physically hurt? Like, do you need help? I can get someone. And he says, no, I'm just having a really bad day. Can you please come over? So I'm like, okay, I put on my girlfriend cape and I head over to his house. Now, just imagine this scene, okay? I get to his little house, which is already creepy on its own, and the door is like kind of open. So I'm going into his house, all the lights are out, it's hella cold in there, and I'm calling his name. I'm like, hello, like I'm here, and he doesn't answer. So I go to his room, and when I open the door, I see my boyfriend naked in fetal position, just shaking on the bed. And you know what? I'm not trying to judge anyone for how they process their emotions, but remember when I said that narcissists are always in a constant state of conflict and they don't really know how to manage it? This is one of those times. So I kind of just open the door and I'm like, you okay there? And he like kind of looks at me and then he like puts his head back down. He's like doing this type of thing. And I'm like, okay. So I like try again, walk over to his bed. Babe, are you okay? It's really cold in here. Can I put your blanket on? And he's just like, no. Okay, and he's not like crying, like there's no tears, but he's making crying sounds like whimpering, like and I'm just like, okay, like I don't really know what's going on. I didn't get any information about what the situation is, but I'm just trying to be like a supportive girlfriend. And so I'm like, what can I do for you? Like, are you physically hurt? Like, are you ill? Like, what is actually going on right now? And so he gives me his phone and he's like, just read these messages. So I look at his phone and it's his messages from his friend that's talking about they had some kind of meetup that they were supposed to have, and I guess my boyfriend like missed it, and the other guy was calling him fake. He just said, you're fake, bro, like you always miss our appointments, you're fake. And that was like as far as he let me read. Like I tried to scroll up and he was like, no, don't read those. And then he just kind of took the phone, and so that's like the only little context I got. So I'm sitting here like, okay, my man's is curled up in a fetal position, can't feed himself, can't put clothes on, can't turn his heat on because this other guy called him fake. So he just starts having a tantrum about the "you're fake, bro" part. He's like, I'm not fake, like how could anyone think that about me? And he just like starts going like this and like fake crying into his like nook. And I'm just like, okay, like it doesn't have to be this serious. Like I understand that you're upset and this is your friend, but it's totally manageable. Like all we have to do is apologize for missing your meetup, your hangout. And so he like gives me the phone. He's like, can you write the message? And then I'll look at it. So I write a message and I give it back to him, and he looks at it, he erases everything, and he writes, "You're being dramatic." Like, he literally just writes, "You're being dramatic," and sends it. And I was like, okay, I mean, it's not my situation, but I felt like the apology was the way to go. Not more blaming, okay? And that's just another example of how a narcissist can start to gaslight you. He's trying to do it to his friend right now, saying like, you're being dramatic. Like, obviously his friend's upset for a reason. Not my situation. But what was my situation was I got this grown man here just, I don't know, having a tantrum, y'all. And he's like, you know what? It's not my fault. He's being dramatic. Like, I'm not fake. Like, no one ever should say that about me. Like, he's just getting really, really stressed about being called fake. And thinking back on it, I'm like, well, that's because you are fake. You're a completely fake person than who you really are. And this person caught on to that. And that's why he was getting mad, because he got caught. When the friend replies to the message, the friend replies and says, "On site, bro." And the narc just stands up. He's like, I don't even know what he's saying. He's just like saying like, wow, like, I'm not fake. Like, and he's like talking to the phone like, I'm not fake. And then I was like, okay, like, calm down. Like, come sit back down. It's chill. Like, you don't need that person. I'm just trying to like mitigate, because I see the things are starting to escalate. Because he was like walking around his room. He's like doing a little pacing situation and like grabbing at his hair. He's like, I'm not fake. I'm not. Oh, I hit the mic. But sorry if I... like this like, I'm laughing doing it right now, but the shit was terrifying. I was like, what the And so then I was just like, okay, well, do you want me to leave? Like, I'll leave. And I stood up, and I was just like, just call me when, you calm down and we can talk about it. You can call me. We can stay on the phone tonight, FaceTime me, whatever. I'm just getting out of there. I'm like by the door. I'm like, peace out. Like, I don't really want to see what happens next. But I did. And what happened next was he like just kind of muted. Like, he went like, all of this like emotion he was having was like, walking back and forth, like getting at his hair, and he just like stopped, and he like looked at me, and he like looked like this with these evil ass eyes, like, when someone like kind of like looks up at you like that. Yeah, it was that. And then he started growling. He began to growl at me, like, I can't do the sound, but it was like a animal growl. And so this is the scene, right? I'm standing up to leave. I'm by the door. I'm like, peace out, Girl Scout. He's just drops and stares and growls. He's like naked, and he's just like, so I just open the door and I leave, and I'm like, okay, like, I don't know what just happened right there, but it was really scary as He literally looked like he just got possessed, and he didn't like say anything. He was non-responsive to like what I was telling him, and he just was growling at me. I'm just like, okay, this is the weirdest I ever saw in my life. And it made me like scared, because the way he was looking at me, like, I can't even explain it. It was just evil. He was like looking like he was about to hurt me, and that was just so bizarre. I went home and I immediately Googled like growling, staring, and just like tantrums, and narcissistic abuse wasn't on Wikipedia back then, but it is now. But what had come up was demonic possession, and I was like, oh shit, like, my boyfriend is possessed. I deadass got a bundle of sage, holy water. I Googled like how to exorcise a demon from a household, because I thought maybe it was just like in his house, but I also was like, well, you know what, like how to exorcise a person too, because what I saw was supernatural. Okay, I was shook. The next day I got my supplies, my holy water, my sage, I put in my backpack and I walked to his house. And when I get there, you know, he seems fine. Like, he seems completely fine. He didn't text me or anything, like, the whole night about his situation. But I texted him in the morning just to tell him I'm going to come check on him. So that's what I was doing. And also, like, going to just cleanse the place of evil spirits. But he was, like, completely fine. He was up. He was, like, cooking. He's like, hey. And I'm like, hey, like, are you good? Like, what was going on with you last night? And then he's just like, oh, no, it was nothing. Like, it's fine. We're all fine now. He's like, it's fine. And I'm like, okay, sure. Like, I didn't really investigate further. I was just, like, trying to get in there, trying to do my smudging. So, like, I brought out my sage, and he was like, what is that? And I just told him, you know, it's just to, like, cleanse the air. And so I start smudging the room. I smudge him. Then I spray my holy water in the corners. And I even rearrange his room. I move his bed over. I rearrange it so it has feng shui. I'm, like, working to bring positive energy into this space and around this person, because it just felt so heavy and so dark, whatever I experienced that night. And he's looking at me like I'm suspicious now. He's like, what are you doing? Why are you spraying holy water? Like, what's going on? And I don't tell him, like, oh, I think you're possessed. Like, so he's, like, has a pot. You know, he's, like, in his room with the pot. And then he looks like he's about to go back to the kitchen and just leave me to do my cleansing. And he gets to the doorway and he turns around really fast and he's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, what? And he was like, I'm sorry for how I acted last night. He was being very dramatic, like, I don't know how to explain it, like an actor, like, I'm so sorry, like, I'm so sorry. That's how he says it. That's how he, like, would give his apologies. I don't know, it was weird. It was like, I wasn't 100% buying it, and this is still early on, but, you know, as soon as you feel that weird feeling and kind of can see this person isn't being genuine, that's time to evaluate your situation. Because I was feeling it. I was like, this apology sounds strange. It sounds recited and it sounds fake. Okay? And I would soon come to learn, you know, his apologies weren't real. They were very insincere, and I soon was able to, like, tell that very quickly and question him about it. But, you know, at this time, I kind of just accepted it, even though it wasn't sitting 100% well with me. And that's what I'm telling you to pay attention to, that kind of weird, uncomfortable feeling. Just pay attention to that in the moment. Yeah, I mean, I had empathy for him. I know what it's like to be called fake by a friend and have your feelings hurt over a misunderstanding. But, you know, you can have empathy for someone. You don't have to stay with them. You can understand their situation, but you can also leave the situation. There's a difference between empathy and sympathy, which I'll put a video out on, but what a narcissist wants is your sympathy. They don't understand empathy or care about it. They want your sympathy so that you feel compelled to help them, to do things for them, and that's how they manipulate you. At least for the next couple of weeks, I kept my sage and my holy water on deck. I was still kind of looking at him like, who are you? Are you my boyfriend or are you the demon? To be continued.
This right here the classic. This right here the classic. Case closed. It's a casket. What they talking about? This shit right here gon' have to get dramatic. Young